the mic on. Okay, so welcome back to the channel where I am finally adjusting my light. Going to be late with my January TBR, but I have decided on what I'm going to read because I've actually already gotten going on a few things. So, starting off, I've already finished A Feast for Crows. That was mostly on audiobook because as silly as Roy's audio is, I still kind of love it. And there you go, thick book number 1 down. So A Feast for Crows, book 4 of A Song of Ice and Fire. Of course, we're continuing our buddy read of A Song of Ice and Fire. I believe this live chat at the end of January will be hosted on Jimmy's channel. Or no, sorry, Leanna's channel, because we're rotating back, so it'll be on Leanna's channel. This one, of course, I mean, after a Storm of Swords, how are you going to follow that up? Feast for Crows, I understand why people don't like it, but I think it gets a worse reputation than it deserves, because I still genuinely enjoy this book. You get a ton of new POVs, and maybe that's where some of the critique comes from, because you are missing Jon, Tyrion, Dany, and a few others that have been built up to this point, but like A Storm of Swords just happened. You had a ton of those POVs up to that point. It makes sense where you would sort of break off and show other people, because Jon is Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. Tyrion is where he's at, like leaving King's Landing. Dany just had a bunch of big moments. You know, the Red Wedding, the Purple Wedding, like all these things that just happened in A Storm of Swords, where that was just like a holy shit book every other chapter. It had to slow down a little bit, and you get a lot more of Dorne in this book. You get the Iron Islands. You get, basically three different POVs in the Iron Islands in Dorne. You damn near get 5. I mean, you get introduced to Arianne and Areo and Doran and Quentin, and like you get so many characters. And then in the Iron Islands, you've got Victarion and Asha and Euron, and you get the Kingsmoot, and there's just so much going on, but you have to kind of cut away from the other characters. And maybe that's why the series is still unfinished, because all of this new stuff is being brought in, and it's a little bit slower, but I mean, you get a ton of Cersei in this book, which, wow, she's so loathsome and stupid, and her plans backfire, which is fantastic because we hate her. She's a terrible, awful person. But you get Jaime, who is an incredible character in this series. I love his arc. I love getting more POVs of him just because he's so interesting. You get a lot more of Brienne. There's so much going on. A lot of POVs, lots of characters. And I think for the most part, they're incredibly interesting and fun to read. Not all of them hold the weight of like a Jaime or a Tyrion, but that's fine. They're not all going to. I appreciate the world building that happens between this and Dance. And Dance, we're going to get plenty of Dany, so I'm not worried about it. But overall, I still love this book. No, it is not the best of the series, but it's really, really good. It's really good. So that was the first book that I already read in January, but continuing on with my TBR. Next up is something else that I am already obviously reading. I'm about halfway through Sword of Destiny, which is the second book of short stories of the Witcher series. I read Last Wish sometime last year. I don't remember how long ago. I have a review of it on the channel. I really liked it. The majority of the short stories are fun and entertaining. Obviously, many of them pull from fairy tales and folklore, things like that. And pretty much, I don't think are going to have anything to do with the actual series, because as I understand it, the main series doesn't even follow Geralt for that long. It's a lot more about Yennefer and Ciri. And these short stories are really just side quests that Geralt's going on. You get a lot of dandelion, you get, world building, things like that, introduction to all these different monsters. And some of them, like the first one in this, if you've watched Witcher Season 1, the dragon story is the first one that you kick off with here. So you'll be familiar with that one. There's one I'm reading right now that is tying an awful lot to The Little Mermaid. So it's pretty fun and whimsical at times. And I enjoy Geralt as a character. I like the dialogue and the dynamic of him and Dandelion going on adventures together. So I'm having fun with this one so far. I'll probably finish this up in the next couple of days, and then most likely start Blood of Elves next month. All right, so getting these out of the way, because everybody keeps asking me, where are your Dresden reviews? Are you ever going to finish and review Peace Talks and Battleground, sorry. Yes, I am. But it had been such a month. That's staying in. Since I've read them, that I'm reading them again. Obviously, this is going to be a mix of reading and audio, but I am going to go through Peace Talks and Battleground again. I am about 230 pages into Peace Talks right now, so I'm going to be finishing that in the next tonight, probably. and then go into Battleground. I wanted to finally record my reviews, and it had just been a while since I read them that I wasn't necessarily forgetting that much, but I feel like I was forgetting enough detail between the two that I wouldn't do it justice. And I'm gonna do some refreshing on A Memory of Light before I review that as well. But these two books I'm gonna go back through this month. So yeah, that'll be a quick turnaround on rereading some Dresden books, but they're awesome. They're a ton of fun. I love them, and they're short, so I can get back through them and give you all the proper reviews that you deserve before whatever 12 months comes out this year, maybe. I think that's sometime this year. Hopefully, that'd be cool. But yeah, I'm gonna get those reread reviews up on the channel in the next week or so, and finally have that entire series review on my channel. I then decided that I wanted to get back into some Discworld, good old Terry Pratchett, and since I have several of like the first, I guess, in publication order ones, I'm gonna go ahead and read The Light Fantastic because I have no idea what it's about, what to expect. I know that and what's the other one? Color of Magic are, which one's first? I don't remember, shit. I'll read one of them, either of them. Whichever one comes first is the one I'm going to read. But I know these first ones, I've been told that they are, so it'll be one of these, I don't know. I've been told that those are very different than the rest of the series, which, I mean, obviously, because Mort, which I've read, follows Death, and then Guards follows the Guards and the Watch, so we'll see. I love Discworld from what I've read of it, and until I continue with those other series, I kind of just wanted to start a publication order and see what these had to offer. So one of these is going to get read, whichever one comes first. I have to look it up because now I forget. And then finally, the drawing of the three as I continue my journey through the Dark Tower. So Stephen King is a writer that I am getting more familiar with. I've read Salem's Lot in anticipation of the Dark Tower. And then I read the original version of The Gunslinger, the unedited version. And I'm going to wrap up my Dark Tower read through with the revised edition. But drawing of the three, I moved up to right now because I've already kind of decided I'm not going to do all the tie-ins that I have listed on my it's like 17 books or something for my Dark Tower read through. I'm not going to do all the tie-ins just because I don't want to, and I've been told by too many people now that most of them really aren't that important to tie in unless you just want to read the book. So we'll see. There are a few that I'm going to read, but I do want to get to drawing of the three because I hear that it's awesome, and I really loved Gunslinger. I thought it was incredibly intriguing. There's enough mystery and sort of weird things happening that I want to know more about. And I'm definitely going to read The Stand because, as I mentioned in my last video, it's clearly post-apocalyptic, and I want to see what the hell happened to The Stand to lead to this hellscape that they're in, because I know that there are direct tie-ins there, and just sort of the setting for where the Gunslinger is going across the desert, you know, talking clearly about previous New York and other lives. There's a lot going on there that I want to know more about. And the way that book wrapped up, talking about the drawing of the three happening, I was like, all right, I got to pick this up. And it's a proper, you know, 400 page book. Whereas it's over 400 pages. Gunslinger is really short. I don't even know if it broke 300. It was pretty quick. But this is what I wanted to read for Stephen King, so that's what I'm most excited to get through. And then I'll get to his other works after the Dark Tower. But that's going to be my main thing that I'm doing this year, is getting through the Dark Tower, and then, of course, finishing my A Song of Ice and Fire read along with Jimmy and Leanna, which once we wrap up the main series, next month we are going on to Fire and Blood, Night of Seven Kingdoms, possibly A World of Ice and Fire. I don't know. It's an encyclopedia, basically. So we'll see if we read through that or not. That's where the art comes from. That one. Yeah, that's a book haul that's going to be happening. I just haven't recorded it yet. That'll be up soon. Yeah. So this is loosely what I am reading in the month of January. Some of it's already done. These two, they're going to go super quick. Dresden is amazing. It's so good to listen to the audio and just soak in Marster's voice of Dresden. I love it. Those won't take me very long, and then I'm going to get those reviews out, I promise, and then get back to some Discworld. Other than that, though, I mean, my TBRs are going to be kind of fluid this year. There's going to be Patreon picks. I will most likely continue live ship next month, and then who knows? Who knows where the journey will take me? Hopefully some Joe Abercrombie. That's probably where I'll go. And then maybe some Malazan. Who knows? I got to buy the rest of the books. The issue with that, though, is like I started where I don't know where my stuff is anymore. It's alphabetized. why wouldn't I know where things are? I started by getting the trade paperbacks. I got trade paperback for Gardens of the Moon. That seems to be the only one that anybody carries, and they're all really expensive online for some reason. They're all like $40 a piece, which is insane, and the hardcovers are even more expensive. So I might just buy like one at a time, one a month, and that'll be like part of my book budget. Who knows? But that's gonna do it for my January. What are you guys reading? Happy New Year. See you next time.